Okay, this is a short introduction on how to put together a reading list in preparation for your extended essay. It's a relatively simple task, but it's important to gather all the information that you need in order to do for you to do your research properly for the extended essay, and then to use and review that material for your annotated bibliography, so you can measure how useful the actual stuff that you've gathered together. So first of all, the most useful, in my opinion, of resources are books. Okay, academic books that you can use for your research. Also textbooks that you use for your IB. Reading these and getting useful information is always a bonus. Moving on, using the internet, in your guide you will see a range of reliable search engines and academic places that you can look for your resources. So there's a couple I'm going to talk about. It's always a good idea to have a Google Drive free as well, so you can dump all your materials that you need, and maybe a document where you can put things together. One of the things that I've given you is a template for a reading list, so you can put all the information together of the materials that you find. At this stage, it's important to note that it's about finding materials, not necessarily evaluating them, because you have 8 weeks to evaluate the material for your annotated bibliography. So, covered books, and the next part to cover a useful place to look using the internet is TED Talks. Okay, so self-explanatory. You can go through the latest talks if it's relevant to what you're investigating, or you can look through genres and topics. So if I'm looking through music, I might want to go straight to M and look up all of the talks to do with music. Okay, and of course, here we go, lots of talks about music that I might find useful. Of course, I'll have to watch and then evaluate them at a later date. One that I found earlier that I thought might be useful for me, go to the right part, it's the Mark Applebaum. Okay, and here's a link to it later, so where I can find it. One thing that's really underused and should be used more of, journals. Okay, really good place to go for journals is the directory of open access journals. Here's one that I looked up earlier, and all sorts of useful reviews and journals and articles that I can actually use. So I can go straight to journals, and here are some journals in music that are free to look at. Some are in languages that I won't find useful, but Journal of Jazz Studies, that might be useful for 20th century music. Another one that I looked at earlier as well, one of my favourites because it covers nearly everything, is the American site science.gov, and I typed in music earlier. You might want to be more specific in your searches depending on what your subject is. But here I found some good articles, studies, insomnia, music for insomnia, music schools, music education for all, question mark. That's a good topic. So, also, don't forget newspapers. Okay. So here's a newspaper that's quite reliable, The Guardian. One thing to remember about newspapers is that it's mostly opinion rather than factual. But you can always take other people's opinion, especially in more of the arts, extended essays, and argue your point. Use people's opinions to argue your point, or to argue against it, to give more of a balanced essay. Okay, so newspapers are opinion, not facts, but they are useful to either back your opinion up or argue against it. More open access journal lists, and you can read this list that's provided for you in your guide. The important thing is to record what you've found, so you can go back to it and review it for your annotated bibliography. Okay. These parts are important because this is what you need to include on your annotated bibliography. Okay. So I hope that helps to clear up some ideas about creating your own reading list.